All right, let's jump straight in. You handed us a stack of really fascinating material here, articles, research, notes, all about the latest in AI. So our mission today is a deep dive, pull out the key insights, the surprising bits, really get you up to speed on what's happening, like right now.
Exactly. And it covers a lot of ground, We're seeing new models, really impressive ones, the rise of AI agents doing complex stuff, hardware battles, even some security wake-up
It's
calls.
definitely moving fast.
Yeah.
Okay, so let's start with the models. DeepSeek R1 seems to be getting a lot of buzz. The notes say it's hitting state-of-the-art for open weights.
Yeah, pretty much. And even like competing with giants like Gemini 2.5 Pro potentially,
Yeah.
that's quite something for an open model.
That's a huge leap, right?
Yeah.
How's it doing that?
Well, what's really interesting, according to the sources, isn't some massive architecture change. It seems to be clever reinforcement learning after the main training.
Okay. Post-training.
Exactly. It helps the model sort of think more effectively, using more internal steps or tokens for harder problems. And they've apparently distilled this down successfully, too, into a smaller 8B model.
Gotcha. And practically speaking, what are the features?
Well, the notes mention a decent 64K context window, which is good for longer inputs, reliable JSON output, function calling, the stuff you need to build real things.
And the big one, open weights, open code.
Yes. MIT licensed. That's a really big deal for access and experimentation. Plus GGUF availability, so people can actually run it, potentially even locally.
Nice.
Yeah.
Although I saw that funny note about it, sometimes sounding a bit like ChatGPT.
Haha. Yeah, a little personality quirk maybe. Okay, so moving on from the models themselves, there's this trend around AI agents.
Right. Not just chatbots, but systems tackling complex, multi-step tasks using different tools.
Yeah.
Perplexity Labs launching their agent capability was mentioned.
And it's really pushing into coding automation. We're talking agents that can read code, write it, test it, even, merge changes in big projects.
Wow. That's moving beyond just code suggestions into, like, active participation in development.
For sure. And think bigger picture. One prediction in the material was that this kind of agentic search could actually cut down on Google searches.
Really? And shift ad spending. That's potentially huge.
It could be. It changes how we find and process information online. And you see targeted applications emerging too, like that Agents in Finance workshop mentioned.
Okay, but with all this power, understanding and evaluating these things is crucial. What do the notes say about that?
Well, there's some good stuff happening. Anthropic, for instance, open sourcing tools for interpretability, like attribution graphs to see why a model said something. That builds trust.
That's important.
Definitely. But there are still challenges. Concerns about benchmark contamination. Are the tests fair? Models being super sensitive to prompts. And current benchmarks maybe not quite capturing real reasoning skills, especially in math and code. It's tricky.
Yeah, an ongoing problem. Okay, let's switch to the foundation.
Yeah.
Hardware, the engine driving all this. Notice that mention of NVIDIA's CEO admitting Huawei's latest chip is comparable to their H200. Competition's definitely heating up.
It really is. And while the top chips are expensive, there was that interesting detail about Thunder Compute offering older A100s really cheap, like under $1 an hour.
Yeah, it's super cheap.
It's-
But there was a catch, right?
Yeah, a potential RAM bottleneck mentioned in the notes. So great price, but maybe limiting for really big models. You gotta watch the specs.
Always a trade-off. And the notes got pretty deep into optimization too, didn't they?
Oh, yeah. Talk about using shared GPU memory better, even low-level stuff like PTX assembly programming and Mojo for fine-grained control. Really squeezing performance out.
Shows the level of engineering involved. Okay, finally, there was a very stark, real-world risk example included.
Ah, the API key story. Yeah.
Right, a developer finding a project, pulling in like $30 Ks a month, just running off an unrestricted OpenAI API key that was literally embedded in the front-end code, publicly visible.
Oof. Yeah. That's a painful mistake. A real cautionary tale about basic security when you deploy this stuff.
Absolutely critical oversight. So putting it all together, these powerful new open models, smarter agents doing more, the hardware race, the optimization efforts, and these crucial security lessons.
It's just moving incredibly fast on all fronts. The capability is exploding, but so is the complexity and the need for careful implementation.
Definitely. When you look at all these pieces from the sources, you really have to consider, how is this speed and breadth of change going to impact how you work, how you find information?
It's a lot to take in, the sheer pace and how interconnected it all is.
Well, thank you for providing all this material that let us do this deep dive today.
My pleasure. And maybe one last thought for you to chew on based on all this. If AI agents get really good at finding information, writing code, handling complex tasks, what skills become most valuable for us humans interacting with them, directing them, evaluating their work?
Interesting question. Something to think about. We'll see you on the next deep dive.